and we are going to be fueling up the tractor before I drive it all by myself, so that's very exciting. As you can see, the red is where the fuel is, and there's not much left, so we definitely need more fuel. I am back in the tractor now. We are done fueling up, so I'm all by myself, and I'm about to drive this Harrow, so wish me luck, I guess, is all I can say. I do know how to stop the tractor now. It's clutch and brake and RPM down, so I'm good on that aspect. If you haven't watched my video yet about the runaway tractor, then you definitely should. Okay, RPM's up a bit, let the clutch out easily. Gear up slowly. I run in about 12th gear. Darcy runs in gear 13, but I'm not as talented as him. I'm gonna go RPM almost all the way and hook up to guidance. So I'm okay, guidance now. I'm officially harrowing all by myself. We are harrowing at a 20-degree angle because when you go through the furrows, meaning the little grooves in the field, and you go across them, all of the straw spreads out better and it doesn't get clumped up into piles, so that's why we do that. Oh, I forgot to put my RPMs back up. All I have to pay attention to is the speed that the tractor motor is running, so that's 1,990 RPMs. I'm going 8.4 miles an hour. I'm in 12th gear, and then I just watch that my guidance is working and I have auto steer engaged, which is a green circle on my screen and also a red blinking recording dot. And it paints a blue line where I've harrowed and a darker blue line where I've double harrowed, and then it's gray in the rest of the field. I also make sure none of my hydraulics are running and just kind of do an overall check of the tractor. And then my seat swivels a little bit, so I watch my harrow in the back, make sure I'm not leaving any big piles and everything's still attached to the tractor. Because I'm very new at this, I just try and focus very hard at the task at hand and try and do the best job I can. There is a lot of straw in this harrow, but they're actually supposed to work better the more straw they have in them. That's something very interesting that I learned actually last year when I went harrowing with our neighbor. When you do diagonals, the field just gets smaller and smaller and smaller, so you have to do more turns, and turns are the most challenging part of running the drill, harrow, anything really, because that's the time it's not driving itself and you actually have to drive it. It's all about timing with corners and also not hitting this big cable on either side of the tractor on the wheel when you make the turn, so I really have to watch that closely. Well, looking at my guidance screen and making sure that I'm making a turn with the right radius to line back up to my next guidance pass. It all has to happen together, so I usually slow my RPMs down a little bit. There's a huge coulee up here, so I need to go quite a bit slower. I control my speed by my RPMs usually. Then once I get through this coulee, I will start my turn right now. Now I have to look at my guidance line, which I'm lining up pretty well with, so I think I'm going to hit guidance. And my tractor is now driving itself, which is the most wonderful part of this tractor, actually. Everything's going well. I didn't really leave any big piles, which I can't control that, but you do want to monitor the field, the piles you're leaving, because it could be too cold to harrow, and that's something we definitely have to look out for. It's the best feeling ever to be in the tractor again and learning something new. I'm now going to move my RPMs up because I forgot about it just a second ago. And they run between 1,990 and 2,000 to 2010. It really just depends. This field has had a lot of sawfly damage, and a sawfly is an insect that burrows into the stem of the wheat and lays its eggs, and then the wheat falls over. There is no spray to solve that issue. The only solution to prevent sawfly damage to your crop and a huge crop loss is to swap your wheat. Basically cut it off and put it in rows before the sawfly can get to it, which we definitely should have done with this spring wheat. And over 50% of our crop is still on the ground. That's why it's really critical to harrow this field. But swapping's really the only solution. I'm coming up to the end, so I'm going to slow down a little bit to give myself some time to turn around, which I didn't give myself enough time. Oh, I'm nervous. Yeah, I went on the road a little bit there. That's okay. I should have watched my guidance line a little bit better, and I didn't. But it's all a learning experience. In every corner, I get just a bit better at knowing what not to do in this case. Everything's going pretty well so far. It's about 5 o'clock right now. This is the monitor for the drill and the flex coil implement. This is also a flex coil harrow, but it's not needed. This runs the tanks on the drill. And then this screen right here is for the John Deere tractor. So that's basically what I'm looking at. And then I also have a little smaller monitor on the tractor. I'm now slowing the RPMs down to make my corner. Maybe about now. Now I'm going to link to my guidance. I think I did an okay corner there. I am now getting ready to come up to another corner. Because I'm going through a coulee or a bit of a draw in the field here, I'm going to idle it down a little bit. And now I am back on guidance, and that was actually a really good corner. The tractor didn't have to really move itself a lot to get back onto guidance. That was the little coulee I was going through. And a coulee is basically a draw in the field where the fields meet like this and all the water runs off. It's hard to run equipment through them, but I already had my RPMs lowered for it. It's just a slightly bump. And that's why Darcy was disking that, is to kind of make the coulee a little bit less substantial. My dad is flying the drone right now. I'm about to go through that big coulee again, so I'll just lower my RPMs. I think I'm kind of coming up to the edge of the field, so I'm not really sure. We didn't do a second end pass on this side because going straight was leaving too many clumps, so I'm not really kind of sure how the diagonal works when we get up here, but I guess I'll just start doing my own pattern in the field if I can't figure it out. I'll start my turn right now. Make sure not to hit the cable on the back of the tractor wheel. Hook back up to guidance. Raise my RPMs a tiny bit, not much though, because I have to go back through this draw. Harrow looks like it's doing good. Now that I'm through the draw and I went easy on the equipment, I'll raise the RPMs back up and keep on harrowing. I'm coming up to a corner of a field, so I'm going to have to turn around this way because I'm not going to have room to turn around the other way. It's going to be a bit challenging here to figure out what to do. I've lined up to my new guidance path. I'll be starting going this direction again. So that was a little challenging to figure out, but I think I was able to find a solution to the I'm going to run into the road if I don't turn here problem. The sky is very beautiful outside. I'm super glad that everything's going well harrowing. I'm really enjoying this experience of learning how to drive something new on the farm. I'm still only in 12th gear. I do feel that I could maybe go a little bit faster, and little bit more capable of running this machine competently, but I don't want to go there yet because it is still my first day. Oh my gosh, there's cows over there. That's crazy. It doesn't look like they're fenced either, but they might be. It's really hard to tell fences. My passes are getting shorter diagonally because I'm coming up to the end of the field. So I have to make quite a few more turns and be watching a little bit more. I'm going to start my corner now because the road is built up a little bit here, and I noticed last time that I didn't start my corner with enough room to miss the road. The harrow went up on the road, so that's never a good thing. I lined up pretty well for my guidance pass. I could have done a little bit better of a job. I'll move my RPMs up, and that's what harrowing is. It's basically spreading out everything left behind in the field during harvest so that when we go back to seed it in the fall, we don't plug the drills up and have to continue stopping. We can just go straight through the whole field. If you've seen my fall seeding 2021 videos where I drove drill all by myself, I did have a couple times where the drill plugged up, and that just means that you're going through an area and a bunch of straw plugs around your boots, which are the things that put seed in the ground. That's what plugging the drill up is, and I had to go out of my pass, make a corner, hope some of that dropped out, and hook back up to guidance again. And that was actually in a field we didn't harrow. So that's why we're trying to harrow all our fields this year, because we had those issues during seeding in the fields we hadn't harrowed. And definitely learned our lesson there, but there's so much to be done on a farm during the year. You don't have time for everything, and your time frame is also very much limited on the weather. So when you have that variable, you never know how much work you can do, because you never know when you're going to have several feet of snow in the field and it be 40 below. It gets very cold here in Montana. You go through fields really fast raking. I'm going 8.4 miles an hour. I'm pretty much Speedy Gonzalez, because combining I was going 2.5 miles an hour, and then seeding I was going 5 miles an hour. The next equipment I'll be driving is combine again, so it'll be really hard to go from 8 miles an hour to 2 miles an hour in a field. I'm not really slowing down for this because I feel slightly more confident in my raking abilities. I have to hand drive this for a while because it doesn't see my line yet. Now it sees it. Crazy the feeling when you get out of a tractor that's 525 horsepower and drive your car, because then you realize how easy driving a car really is and how it's not very complicated. My dad just pointed up here and went like this, so that means that this is my very, very last pass in the harrow today and driving tractor all by myself, which is very sad, but it's also going to be nice to end for the day and have a delicious dinner. I'm waving at my dad, he's driving his car. Well, clutch and brake, I did manage to get the tractor stopped this time. I'm going to gear it down. I've idled it down. Oh, I need to put it in park. That would be helpful. The sky is absolutely gorgeous tonight, and I wanted to show you a little bit more about the heavy harrow and what it looks like when it's completely full with straw after I finished harrowing for the day. So it's got all this wheat in it, and this was the wheat damaged by the sawfly. This is the part of the field that I've harrowed. And this is the part of the field I haven't harrowed. As you can see, this is all of the wheat on the ground from the sawfly. This is everything we couldn't harvest and what we're trying to harrow and spread around. Because I go different directions with the harrow, this way, and then this pass was done going up, you see different colors in the field because the straw is laying different directions. So if you've ever seen a field like that and wondered why it has perfectly straight lines, that's because of GPS and auto steer. But it has the different colors because of the different directions the straw is laying from when you rake the field. And when I talk about not hitting the wire and the cable, I mean this right here, that's very bad. I'm heading out of the field now. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed and learned a little bit more about the process it takes to get your food to your table. Make sure to like and subscribe, and you can follow Kate's Egg on Instagram, KATES_AG, and on Facebook, Pinterest, and TikTok. Make sure you're following the only TikTok TikTok account run by me, KATES_AG. And you can go to the Kate's Egg website, KATESAG.com, and purchase a Kate's Egg tote bag, which I have all my stuff in right now. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed.